So we've looked over a bunch of stuff. We've looked over making variables, setting things up, drawing things, making things happen when we click and drag the mouse, and finally we're going to look at this last thing I used to change the background color and to reset stuff. So this is using void mousePressed. I'm going to go ahead and hit the run just to show you how this works. Let's go ahead and click and drag and draw something. So we're drawing this code, we're drawing this stuff right here, but I want to start fresh. So if I hit the right mouse button, it erases it and gives it this random background color. Hit the right click on the mouse, right click. What I'm using is when anytime I click and right click, that is mouse pressed. So if the mouse is pressed, and we're not talking about dragged, we're saying pressed and release. So a press is when you press it and release it. Yeah, it's changing that background color. It's a little simpler than drawing all these circles. So I use something called an if statement here. And this is where the power of code comes in. You can say, if this is happening, then this occurs. So even this void mouse pressed is kind of an if statement. It's saying if you press the mouse, if someone's pressing the mouse, run all this code here. So mouse is pressed. I'm adding my own if statement. So I typed in if and I gave the conditions. These are the conditions that if this is happening, then you can run this extra little bit of code. But if that's not happening, do not run that code. Do not. So I wrote down if, and then I have a left parenthesis and a right parenthesis, and I'm saying which of the mouse buttons. So we have our left mouse button, but then I have the right mouse button, and the right mouse click does something different. So I wrote down if, parenthesis, mouse button, M-O-U-S-E, capital B for button, if mouse button equals, and I know this double equal sign is weird, because we didn't do it at other places where there is an equals, like up here. But anytime that you're doing an if statement, you need that double equals. It's like, give me double equals. I want to be double sure. So I'm saying if you press the mouse, and if when the mouse is pressed, the mouse button equals right, all capitals, R-I-G-H-T, so the right mouse click, and inside of these two brackets here is where I put the code to run. And so now I'm saying background, and this changes the background color. And I've given it a random color between 1 and 150 for red, random between 50 and 100 for green, and random between 0 and 255 for blue. And the highest we can go up is 255. So this gives us a lot of range for the randomness. So just like earlier in the setup, we put the background at 0 to make it black. Now we're saying the only way to change that, because at setup nothing changes, but it can be changed if somebody presses the mouse and if the button being pressed is the right button. So if I hit play or run and I draw and I say, okay, I'm going to press the left mouse button and it doesn't change the background. It drags, but when I click the right mouse button, it changes the background and it draws it over everything. And it does it every time I do that. So you can add anything inside of there. We could even go, I'm going to go ahead and copy, Command C, and make two things, Command V. So it's going to change the background and then draw a circle because I just copied and pasted that bit of code in there. So if I hit play, drawing, look at that. It's a very small circle. But there's a teeny tiny circle. Let's make that circle really big. So circle X, Y, and let's make it 200 to 500. So this is the position and this is the size. Let's hit the play or the run again. I make it, boom. So when I click, it's making that circle, giving a little randomness in the size. Change the background, and I'm not dragging it now. If I click and drag, it does that, and then it will do that. So you're able to actually put any code you want inside there. So I'm just saying that now, if the mouse is pressed, and if that mouse button that is pressed is the right mouse, you change that background. You add me one of them good circles there. Awesome. I'm just going to delete this to go back to where we started. And this is the coding aspect. But you can actually make applications that run on their own from processing. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to export this as an actual app.